welcome to Trashy Trashy, where we take a dumpster dive on this week's garbage people and a look at all the trashiest news stories. My name is Erica, and I am your host.
My name is Cassandra. I'm your other host. Oh, I'm so excited to talk to you, Erica.
I'm literally so excited to be speaking with you today, Cassandra.
Oh
How
my
are you?
God. I'm doing pretty good. Good. I feel like I'm making some mental health breakthroughs in a way where, like when shitty stuff, continues to happen to me, I still feel like overall, like my life is pretty fucking good.
You know what? I couldn't be in a better spot, honestly, but I am also learning to cope with the bad.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I'm like, man, that was bad. Ooh, and that was bad. This whole year, actually, like, to be honest, has been like fucking crazy and like kind of terrible and a lot of death and a lot of change and a lot of stuff. And yet I'm like, my life in the grand scheme of things has never been better.
You know, I got photos taken yesterday, like portfolio photos taken for like, I'm not going to say modeling, like influencer looking photos.
Okay.
Like a girl wanted to do her portfolio and
she went to the right place.
She went to the right place.
Yeah.
And
lifestyle shots.
Exactly. Lifestyle shots. And so we were talking and we haven't seen each other in like 5 or 6 years, but we've kept up online. It's like a photographer I've worked with in the past. And she's like, how are you? And I wanted to be like, I'm actually good.
Yeah.
Like, I know the world is on fire around me and that there are bad things, but I'm okay.
Yeah. Like, again, like I hung out with a friend of mine a couple days ago and like I did kind of like explode onto her, like all like the weird stuff that's going on. But the sentiment generally is, it's too bad I had all that happen in 1 week because I am really doing well otherwise. So, and I feel like why is it weird to tell people that you're doing good and mean it?
It's hard. It's really hard, especially given the current circumstances of the world. It's hard to be like, I personally am doing okay.
Yeah.
I paid off all my credit card debt. I might have a new job. Like I might have it's like, it's hard to say you're doing well.
Yeah. I'm in a living situation that's working well for me. I have a new job and I'm in a really healthy relationship. Like, good for us.
Good for us. I hate to say it, but good for us.
Where can the people find you, Erica? I'm just kidding. I'm ending the show
that
already.
Was the pod. Thanks for coming.
Can you imagine?
Why are you trash this week, Cassandra?
I'm a little nervous about sharing this.
Okay.
Not because... okay, here's what happened. I'm not even going to put a date on it. Recently, I woke up in the middle of the night, just like hot, just like, oh my God, I'm so fucking hot. At like around 1, and then I couldn't fall back asleep until 4 a.m. So that was like such a shitty way to go into a work day, right? And there's like some meetings that I have to attend that are important. And then there's some meetings that I have to attend that it's like, I've never had to speak in these. No one addresses me. There's other people from my team here. Like, I don't even know I have to do this. And so with, camera off and microphone off, as I always take these meetings, I fell asleep.
Oh no.
I fell the fuck asleep. And then and it's my fault. I shouldn't have been working on the couch. I shouldn't have been working, horizontally. But I was fucking tired and I needed to just get through like the last 2 hours of my day. And so I ended up waking up and it was me and 2 other people left, like what, because why are they still here? Or the meeting just ended and I'm just like, okay, bye. But I fell asleep in a business meeting. And tell you what, when I get back to the office, I'm not going to be able to do that anymore. Why are you trash this week?
Well, I have a historical trash that I'm a little nervous about telling as well.
Oh boy. Saucy start to the episode.
Saucy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I am banned from all Howl at the Moon locations
What?
especially the one in Destin, Florida.
Oh my god. I used to party at Howl at the Moon at City Walk all the time when I was like 21.
I wouldn't know that joy. I've only been in one Howl at the Moon. And so I went to Howl at the Moon for spring break in college
Okay.
with a group of my sorority sisters.
Okay.
And I walked up to the bar and I saw someone from my university and we chatted for a minute. And then he ordered a beer. And then I ordered a drink. And then he left. And the bartender said, "Oh, I put it on your boyfriend's tab." And I am mortified about this, but drunk Erica said, "Okay, great." And so the next time I went up, I ordered another drink and he's like, "On the same tab?" And I said, "Yes, yes, on the same tab." I am not proud of this. I proceeded to order drinks that night and put them on the same tab. Like, I never clarified which tab we were talking about, but I was passing out drinks as if it were my job.
Oh
Like,
no.
I started ordering buckets and shots and I danced on stage. It's a piano bar just to set the tone.
Uh-huh.
Like, it's like a karaoke style piano bar. I
Dueling
had
pianos sometimes.
dueling pianos at times. I danced on the bar, or on the stage. I had a great night. I tipped the bartender in cash before I left. And then my group was asked to leave because we were too much fun.
Oh my
Cut
god.
to me walking on campus a couple weeks later, running into that same guy. And I said, "Hey, how was your spring break?" And he goes, "Erica, you'll never believe what happened." And I was like, "Oh, what happened?" He
Did you know
proceeds
what happened? Like, did you know it? Were you nervous?
a little nervous because I was about to say, "Here's $400. I'm so sorry. Let me write you a check." Like,
Uh-huh.
you ready to apologize? And he's like, "I ordered a beer at that, when we saw each other, and that's the only drink I had that night. And they cut me at this tab for like $200 or $300."
Oh my god.
And I was like, like, here comes the part where I have to pay him. And he said, "I refused to sign the credit card slip. So the bartender said, you and your girlfriend are banned from ever coming back here again." So he didn't have to pay.
Oh.
I didn't have to pay, except for the tip that I gave the bartender.
Did he know that when he was like, "Who the fuck are you talking about, my girlfriend?" Did the person like describe you?
No, he had no idea. And so I've never told him the truth. And I plan on telling him if I run into him again soon, which is unlikely because he lives in Oklahoma and I do not.
He doesn't listen to Trashy Trashy?
That's on him.
I guess we'll find that out this week.
We'll find that out when I get an angry Facebook message. But I was like, "Oh my God, that's horrible. That's shocking. I can't believe they would run up a tab on you."
I mean, it is kind of the bartender's fault.
Is the trust but verify. Bartenders, trust but verify. I mean, it
Wow.
must have been it was hundreds of dollars worth of drinks. I'm so embarrassed. Like,
That's really fucking trashy, and I love you for it.
it was such a mistake. But yeah, I'm banned from Howl at the Moon.
They can't find you. You go to the Howl at the Moon and Universal City Walk together one day, and probably leave after an hour because we go like, "It's too loud here."
It's too, I'm an adult now. I can't stand this.
This is awful. Oh,
You know what else is awful?
what's awful?
Some encrypted messaging services where drug dealers can thrive.
That is awful. According to Fox 13 Memphis, which is kind of weird that this story is coming from a website in Memphis, even though it takes place in the UK. But you know what? I love it anyways.
A drug dealer in the city of Liverpool thought he was the big cheese until police got evidence they needed to arrest him from a picture he shared of himself holding a small block of creamy Stilton.
What is up with these mafia people and drug dealers? Now everyone wants to be a food blogger because we've done another story about someone like this.
I think it's everybody wants in on that influencer feeling.
Sure, but like you holding the block of cheese to send on your weird, like, encrypted site of like, hey boys, when everyone gets home from their heroin stuff, I'm making something good tonight. Here's proof.
Carl Stewart, 39, was sentenced to 13 years and 6 months in prison at the Liverpool Crown Court last week after he pleaded guilty to a conspiracy to supply cocaine, a conspiracy to supply heroin, MDMA, and ketamine, and transferring criminal property.
He was arrested after he posted the photo of the encrypted messaging service EncroChat via his handle Toffee Force. That's a cute handle.
That's cute.
Toffee Force.
I'm Toffee. I love Toffee.
Toffee's good though.
Toffee's so good, but Toffee Force.
That sounds like a delicious crime fighting team.
Yes.
Someone called TLC.
We're the Toffee Force.
Unbeknownst to him, the service had been cracked by police in Europe. From that, his palm and fingerprints were analyzed by police, and they had their man. Your fingerprints can get analyzed by a picture of your hand? That doesn't seem right.
That's some future shit.
Yeah, but like, isn't like fingerprint analysis and that like not even as accurate as people think it is?
Fingerprint is, but like blood splatter can be, and handwriting can be like unreliable. I've read.
I see. Unless you're Robert Durst, that guy's handwriting is specific.
Very specific. It's the misspellings.
It is. Oh God, listeners, if you watch The Jinx, you got to watch it. Ooh, it's fun. What a ride!
It's a wild ride. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyways.
Stewart isn't alone in having his criminal activities brought to a premature end by his activities on EncroChat. Merseyside police say that around 60,000 users have been identified worldwide, with about 10,000 of them in the UK alone. All have said to be involved in coordinating and planning and supplying the distribution of drugs and weapons, money laundering, and other criminal activity.
Sounds like it's time to get a new encrypted chat service, because if they're reporting on this in Memphis, it's probably tapped.
Yeah, I just don't know what you would use an encrypted messaging service other than to talk to like a journalist or to do like deal drugs.
Well, that's what they're doing.
I know, but can someone educate me? Like,
well, so what? We did that story on that other messaging service, although they just don't track your data. Or what, is it a messaging service? Yeah. Remember the one that was like doing the ads that were very personalized?
Uh-huh.
That's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Technology has run amok.
Yeah, it's pretty scary. You know what else is kind of scary?
Drones?
Drones are scary. According to ABC News, 3,000 eggs abandoned after drone scares bird in California. Come on, guys.
This comes to us from Huntington Beach, California. Some 3,000 elegant tern eggs were abandoned at a Southern California nesting island after a drone crashed and scared off the birds, a newspaper reported on Friday.
2 illegally flown drones over the Bolsa Chica Ecological Reserve in the Huntington Beach in May, and one of them went down in the wetlands.
Fearing an attack from a predator, 7,000 terns abandoned their ground's nest, according to the State Department of Fish and Wildlife.
So now, when they would be watching over their little eggs so that they would hatch, now the sand in the beach is just a bunch of eggshells. Because people want to just fly drones and scare birds. This story makes me kind of sad.
This makes me sad. People fucking suck. And drones, I mean, I can think of like one use of a drone that would be good.
What is it?
Like something police related, like if you needed to fly over a compound. But otherwise, like, I don't give a shit about your drone shot above Zion, or like I hate drones.
That's the one that I could feel like would be kind of cool, is like if it's but it's like a professional, who has like permits to do it. But
Permits, exactly.
yeah, otherwise, like, just like, Joe Schmo with like a drone that he flies in his backyard so that he can peek into his neighbor's backyards. Like, or you're flying drones at the beach willy nilly and you're scaring the fucking birds.
Yeah. You know who loves a drone?
Who?
Kenny Curry.
Who's
He
Kenny
loves
Curry?
my dad. He loves to fly a
Oh,
drone 2 feet above a dog's head and watch the dog like paw at it.
come on,
He,
Kenny.
come on, Kenny, get
That's
it
a waste of.
together.
At least it didn't scare the dog and they just want to play with it. But like, that's just a waste of a drone.
Yeah, they don't have the cameras attached to them. They're not like sophisticated drones.
I feel like a drone is now the new kind of like RC car,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
which I believe were only available at Radio Shack. I've never seen them elsewhere. But like those little, like remote control cars that like, like whatever. Now it's the same exact concept, but it flies.
Well, Kenny Curry loves a remote control car. He loves a remote control airplane.
There you go. Then it all makes sense. If
It
you're on the
all
beach, though, go
checks.
back to flying kites, please.
Yes, they don't scare the birds away and leave 3,000 little baby birds to fend for themselves.
It sounds like from the Nick Molzenberry, the fish and wildlife warden, says that the pandemic is driving more and more people to outdoor spaces, which sounds like a good thing. But it's increased drone activity and more dogs and bicycles on trails, all of which are prohibited at this place, obviously. So yeah, this is really fucking with the wildlife. It's a bummer.
Yeah, I don't care for it. You know what else I don't care for?
What?
Fully nude men.
That's fair. just
You
yeah,
have
like,
you have aggressive anatomy is all I'll say.
it's definitely I can't argue with that. If you're in the market to see it, it's pretty good, I guess. But if you're not asking to see it, you're like it's wildly aggressive. You're absolutely right.
Well, let's get into our next story from applenews.com, sent in by John Golembecki.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John. Fully nude Nationals Park streaker tries to hide in tarp roller during rain delay.
When Wednesday night's Nationals Reds game, which for anyone who's not a sports person, that's baseball, in Washington was delayed by rain, one brave and very misguided fan seized the opportunity to turn the playing field into his own personal water park.
The skies opened up for the fourth inning, and the umpires called for rain delay just as Juan Soto was set to bat for the home half of the inning. That's when the streaker, fully nude, seized the moment.
You know what? Officially, because you read that, we are not only journalists, we are sportscasters now.
Oh, shit. I'm going to add that to my resume.
100%. I'm putting it on my to-do list now. He entered in the right center field and made a beeline for the infield, drinking something that he eventually dumped on his head. He basked in the cheers of the crowd, which grew louder when he failed to account for the change in the running surface, and he stepped on the tarp and immediately wiped out.
But the man popped right back up to his feet and showboated a bit until the stadium security finally arrived to apprehend him.
That's when he had his real moment of genius. Realizing he couldn't attend... You know what? I'm going to stop reading this and just describe what happened, because I think it's going to be easier that way. Here's what happened. They have a big tarp on the field. It's raining. Blah, blah. Like the streaker gets on the tarp, falls down, having the best time. The tarps are in like these giant like tubes, like a log kind of feeling tube. And as he's getting chased by security, he's like, fuck it, I'm going to go in the tube. And then the crowd's going wild because security's on either end of the tube, and there's just a naked man inside of it. It's pretty fun, but I don't know why men have to do this naked.
Yeah, it would have been fun if he just ran on the field wearing like a t-shirt.
And probably like Winnie the Pooh style.
Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh.
I was thinking more like, like a tiny bathing suit.
Oh, yeah, like a Speedo. What a joy.
What is the real difference between, because the crime and what you're being charged for is likely different. I mean, imagine you would become like a sex offender if you get caught streaking,
You risk a lot to just be naked, whereas wearing a Speedo, you don't risk as much.
They might put you on the fucking Jumbotron if you're in a Speedo.
Exactly.
I mean, honestly, I don't know. It's fun. I've never seen a streaker like in person at a game, but like it's obviously some sort of weird rite of passage for some people, like because it keeps happening. Just put a little pair of chonies on. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. Put a
There's
pair of
kids there.
chonies on. There's kids in the audience.
For fuck's sake.
I agree. I would be upset if I saw just a naked man out of context.
Yes, I mean it's shocking. It's shocking. You know who doesn't agree though?
Who?
A lot of people in Oregon, it turns out.
This is sent in from Mike from the podcast Whack Brackets, which you should check out. It's a good time.
Thanks, Mike.
According to the businessinsider.com, Greater Idaho took one step closer to being a real thing as 5 more counties voted to explore leaving liberal Oregon for conservative Idaho.
So 7 rural Oregon counties have voted in favor to become part of Idaho, and organizers of the Greater Idaho movement say more counties could soon have the option on the ballot.
We want out from underneath Oregon's governance and go further underneath Idaho's governance, which we tend to match up better with as far as our values go, the group's president, Mike McCarter, told Insider.
Yeah, for now, Boise apparently is becoming quite progressive.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't think of anyone who... Well, where do you live in Idaho besides Boise? That's a genuine question. That's not even a judgment.
Yeah, I can't think of another.
Yellowstone?
I don't know.
That's in Idaho, I think.
Now for 20 years plus, we've been trying to change the makeup and improve the makeup of the Oregon legislature. But when we haven't got the vote, there's not much you can do about it, he said.
Leaders of the movement told Insider that it started at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic after Oregon's GOP attempted to recall Governor Katie Brown. Ooh-wee, people love to recall a governor.
They love to recall a governor. California is going through a recall right now, or an attempt.
This is second of our lifetime, and at least in California.
Mm-hmm. We love to elect, and then we love to recall.
We're like, never mind.
We change our minds. You didn't do the thing we wanted you to do exactly.
What are the term limits on a governor?
Oh, great idea. No idea on what the number is, but there definitely should be term limits on governorship. All governors, all government should have term limits.
All government, but like how often, let me Google this, how often? Okay, so a governor is like, it kind of stands like the president, where it's like you can hold office for 4 years, and then you can choose to run for re-election, and then you're not eligible to serve more than 8 years in any 12-year period. So not quite like the president, like you could come back if you wanted to, but someone needs to be in between you at least. So it's like, I don't know. Like, I guess a governor really does affect our day-to-day lives more so than maybe a president would, unless it's Trump. And so maybe that's why people are so recall happy. I don't know.
It's pretty wild. I just don't like the thought of Caitlyn Jenner becoming our governor.
Ugh.
She is wildly conservative, killed someone in a motor accident, and we just gloss over that.
She is not a good person, plain and simple. So Ems, one of the group's leaders, said that he was hoping that the group's goals could be met in the next 4 to 6 years, but that they were taking small steps alongside legislative sessions to push along the effort.
McCarter told Insider the proposed new border would encompass 18 full and 3 partial Oregon counties and account for about 860,000 people in Oregon.
So while that would only be 21% of Oregon State's population, it would be 70% of Oregon's land. I mean, this would make Idaho the 3rd largest state in America behind Alaska and Texas. Like, that would be humongous.
Listen, I think I'm going to say something controversial, and I don't completely disagree with what they're doing. Like, they're not being fully represented by, if they think that they're not being fully represented by the mass population, why not go somewhere that would, I don't disagree.
You know what? if you're being controversial,
Mm-hmm.
baby, I'm in the passenger seat because I agree. I kind of like in the same sense that like when people are like, we're gonna secede, I'm like, then fucking do it, you
Yeah.
know? Or like when Northern California is like, we should split California in half and fuck you down in Southern California. All right, then do it. You know, like it's kind of go be where it works for you. I mean, and
Mm-hmm.
I understand, especially like in a if you're in a rural situation, it's not as easy as just, pick up your shit and leave
Yeah.
because you probably own a lot of land. It's a little bit different when it's like you live in a big city and you're like, I hate this big city. I'm gonna like, okay, well then go move to a different one. But I don't know, like it's kind of yeah, whatever, fine. If you want to live in Idaho and this is allowed, I don't. What's the worst that could happen?
Right. Im said the majority had no incentive to include people in the rural parts of the decision making, and people living in, quote, concrete jungles are telling those who live and steward the land how to run their own land.
I do like that. So they're basically saying like we in rural Oregon don't have the same problems and don't relate to the problems of those who live in Portland or the
Mm-hmm.
bigger cities. He doesn't discount their issues. Like he says we're not saying that is wrong. We don't agree with it, but they are dealing with those issues and those aren't the issues that we have. So I mean
Yeah.
they're basically like we have more traditional values, blah 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 blah, whatever, like, police, yada yada yada, like Republican talking points.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fine. Fine. I mean, I don't know. It's do I wish that everyone could be a little bit more progressive? Absolutely, but I don't live on a fucking farm, you
Right.
know? I and I never have. And I
Right.
don't see that in my future. So obviously my outlooks are going to be a little bit different on how to deal with certain things. I mean, I'm not talking about like racism or like gay rights or like the things that I think everyone if you're not on board with, I don't really like your stances. But when it comes to like what to do about homeless people or what to do about like drugs or what to do with even like schools and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not necessarily the end of the world to me if people don't agree and would rather be somewhere where they agree. Let everyone conduct your own social experiments.
Yeah. It's as if they're being taxed without representation in a way, which, as we know from the American Revolution, is a big no-no.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Speaking of a big no-no, let's get into our
Yeah.
next story from popculture.com.
Ellie Kemper, the veiled prophet ball queen title under scrutiny.
Ellie Kemper
Whoa, Erica.
surprisingly became a trending topic on Monday's Twitter. The former Office star said it had nothing to do with the new role in her sitcom. Instead, her past came under scrutiny, especially when she was named the queen of the 1999 Veiled Prophet Ball when she was 19.
So Ellie Kemper grew up in St. Louis and she grew up with a pretty rich family. Didn't know that. Doesn't matter, but like she grew up wealthy. And there's this thing in St. Louis called that used to be called, but it's called something else, but I can't find it and I don't, why. It used to be called the Veiled Prophet Ball.
The Veiled Prophet organization was created in 1878 after Charles Slayblack, a Confederate cavalryman turned grain executive, called for a meeting of business and civic leaders, according to The Atlantic. Slayblack wanted to establish a new secret society influenced by poets Thomas More and New Orleans Mardi Gras.
So they had the Veiled Prophet of Khorasan, a mystic traveler who chose the city of Missouri as its base. Before the balls, the local elites picked someone to anonymously play the Veiled Prophet and then choose a queen of love and beauty from those at the ball.
One reason for the ball's creation was to help St. Louis compete for attention in while Chicago's continued to grow. However, the Veiled Prophet was also responsible for racial issues growing in St. Louis at the time, especially with growing cooperation between Black and white workers. Labor strife was also taking center stage after a railroad strike in 1877.
So basically, this photo comes out that Ellie Kemper was like this veiled prophet queen when she was 19 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone is like, you're the queen of a clan ball. And because the veiled prophet, an illustration, the first illustrations of him, it looks like how you would imagine a KKK member. But people aren't pointing out the fact that this was created in the 1800s, and the KKK didn't start looking like that with the white hoods until 1915, after A Birth of a Nation came out.
Yeah. I mean, it was essentially started, it has its roots in the Confederacy, but at the time that she was crowned, was it billed as more of like a civic organization? I'm questioning.
Yeah, I think like 20 years prior to her even being like in like the 70s,
Mm-hmm.
they started having black members. Like they were trying to rid their racist stuff back in the 70s. So I mean, this is just like, it's a complicated thing because first of all, I can't relate. So when I say the sentence, I don't mean it as any sort of forgiveness or whatever. But when you're 19 and your parents are asking you to do something, and you're super wealthy fucking parents, and say, I got to parade my 19-year-old around this ball. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think that a 19-year-old is necessarily like, who has to do this tradition I just don't think she was thinking about it. She
Right.
probably, I mean, whether they knew or not, like, I don't think that this makes Ellie Kemper, some sort of racist. I think it's just like, I think it's a shitty thing, and, like, definitely like something to reflect on. But I'm hoping that this isn't literally something that's going to like find her getting like canceled or something.
I agree. I think they have like I said, like their roots in the Confederacy. In the 70s, they try to distance themselves from that and become more of a civic organization. You're 19, you want to do some type of cotillion ball. She was at Princeton at the time. Like I understand, like I did manners classes, but I never fully did cotillion, and I wanted to without knowing the history of what cotillion means.
Right. I mean, like most things in the United States of America, it is rooted in like something horrible, and a lot of that stuff didn't even start becoming apparent to people. And I'll loop myself in on that with a few things that you don't even realize, like how directly the lines of things that this is what white privilege is, you know?
100%. I think
So,
she came from a place of privilege and was ignorant to what the organization was about.
and I hate to admit this, but one of the guys on my other podcast made a good point, even though it makes me sick to say. But it's weird that like someone like Ellie Kemper, who's just kind of like I would say a normally unproblematic actress, gets dragged for something like this when, like, meanwhile, like David Duke has been elected into office. It's kind of like, I don't I don't know, like it's almost like there's a weird precipice of like you can do something bad and have to like apologize and go through this whole thing for it, when I think most people can understand maybe how and why it happened. But like, because you're either unproblematic normally or maybe you're on more liberal standing, it's like the shame hits twice as hard. But if you're just like the actual worst,
Mm-hmm.
then you're suddenly just allowed to, it's like, oh yeah, well, that's David Duke, of course he's the worst. Like, how is it like you can almost like reach a level of being uncancelable when it's like those are the people that need to go away the most. Ellie Kemper doesn't need to like lose any deals or anything over this. Like, this is like a fucked up thing that, it's another like, hey, look, this exists and that's a problem.
Yeah,
I don't
100%.
know.
I agree.
It's a weird time we're living in.
Speaking of weird time, Cass and I are both vaccinated
Hell yeah, we are.
and got it as soon as we could.
Fuck yeah, we did.
Whereas people in West Virginia are needing to be incentivized to get the vaccine. And how are they doing it?
Oh, well, according to thehill.com, people in West Virginia are getting entered into a lottery to win some guns.
Governor Jim Justice, Republican.
Great name. Great name.
I would vote for a Jim Justice. Like,
you're not going to ever see recall Justice.
Nope. Nope. He announced a new incentive lottery program for residents to get vaccinated during a press conference last Tuesday.
The drawings will run from Father's Day on June 20th to August 4th and will include a variety of prizes from cash to 5 custom hunting rifles, or perhaps 5 custom hunting shotguns, or 2 brand new custom outfitted trucks, or 5 lifetime hunting and fishing licenses. I mean, there are prizes to be won.
One lucky person will win $1 million. There will also be a giveaway for 2 4-year scholarships to any institution in the state eligible to students aged 12 to 25.
And then they're going to give away $1 million for 5 weeks in a row. So hold on, I'm just going to do some quick math. So that's $6 million that's up for grabs. Those are 6 people that could win $1 million. Mm-hmm. 2 people who can win scholarships. Mm-hmm. And then you've got, so I'm at 8, and then plus 2 trucks, so that's 10 people, and then 5 hunting rifles, 5, that's 20 trucks, and then 5, I mean, this is 25 people in a state like West Virginia, like, and it's when we're dealing with vaccines, I mean, this feels like some good fucking odds.
Yeah, I mean, not bad. I would definitely, West Virginia listeners sound off, but like, that's a pretty good raffle.
West Virginia listeners, sound off in general. I want to know, are you out there? Because I've met some people from your state and you guys are a good time. I might disagree with some politics over there, especially with Jim Justice, but West Virginia people are a good time. That's all right.
You know where we do have listeners?
Where?
In Mexico.
Oh, wonderful.
You know where they shoot Bachelor in Paradise?
In Mexico?
That's right. According to usmagazine.com, David Spade confirms Bachelor in Paradise hosting gig amid Chris Harrison absence.
Yes, the 56-year-old David Spade, who I don't know why I thought he was older, reposted several Instagram stories about him stepping in for Chris Harrison after the news broke on Wednesday, June 3rd.
Us Weekly confirms that Harrison will not return for the 7th season of the Bachelor Nation spinoff after he stepped back from the franchise in February.
Did he step back or did he get fired?
Did he get stepped back or was he stepped backed?
Cool.
Yeah.
Did you do the Oprah fingers when you did it?
I did the Oprah fingers. Yeah.
Okay, good. That's important. The decision for longtime host to miss Matt James's After the Final Rose and Katie Thurston's season of The Bachelorette, which premieres this month. This is after Harrison's controversial comments about season 25 frontrunner and eventual winner Rachel Kirkconnell, who made headlines for past racially insensitive comments.
I believe that mistakes don't reflect who I am or what I stand for, he said at the time. I am committed to progress, not just for myself, but for the franchise. And this is a franchise that has been a part of my life for the better part of 20 years, and I love it.
Yeah, so what, this Rachel Kirkconnell said some racist stuff back in the day, and
she was a part of a plantation ball thrown by a fraternity as well, like on a plantation, wearing a plantation style dress like of the era, and photos emerged, and then allegedly she said some racially insensitive things to other people.
Yeah, see, that one feels a little bit more on the nose.
Right.
What? So then he said basically the same thing that we said about Ellie Kemper?
He basically was like defending her and said it was a long time ago when it was only in 2018 that she did this.
Oh, yeah. I don't usually like that argument of like, it was a different time.
It holds no weight with me.
Yeah, especially like with jokes and stuff.
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
If it doesn't hold up, it doesn't hold up.
Yeah. And also just be like, yeah, that joke didn't hold up, and I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on.
Moving on. Spade is one of many celebrity guests filling in for Harrison in Bachelor in Paradise this season.
Spade has been vocal about how much he loves the franchise. He said, there's so many embarrassing things that happen on each show. I wish that I was just doing a live feed while I watched it and just talked to the camera because everything about it makes me laugh. I wonder if they'll ask Lauren Lapkus, because she always does like things on her Instagram where she basically like live streams it with commentary in her stories.
That's awesome. I love Lauren Lapkus.
Yeah, but then also maybe they won't ask her to do that because what she's doing is probably not legal.
Oh, fair.
That's fun. Well, are you a Bachelor person or no?
I've recently become a Bachelor Nation fan. I used to think that you could either be Housewives or Bachelor Nation, but I've been taken into the Bachelor fold.
Okay, yeah, I flipped because I was a Bachelor person, and then they picked a Bachelorette that I really just didn't like. And which it was between Colton. It was Colton's season was the last one I watched, and then they chose Hannah, and I just didn't fucking like Hannah. But apparently Hannah's season was awesome. I don't know. I haven't gotten back into it since. This is a couple years ago, but I have started watching. I mean, I watched one season of Housewives. I shouldn't say I watch Housewives now, but you know, I watched the one that you recommended on this podcast. I did it. I watched SLC, and it didn't fucking disappoint.
Yeah. I'm excited for their second season, and they are going to be filming with the alleged criminal Jen Shaw still.
It's bananas. You know what else is like really fucking bananas though?
Having 20 babies in a year?
Yeah. According to thesun.com, just over a year ago, Christina Ozturk was the mom of one, but now she's raising 20 babies, all of whom are her biological kids.
The 23-year-old from Georgia, the millionaire businessman husband, Gallup, 57, have paid nearly £160,000 to surrogates for babies over the past 2.5 months.
They now spend what's equivalent to $96,000 American a year on 16 live-in nannies who work around the clock caring for their rapidly expanding brood.
The mom of 21 isn't ruling out having more kids after previously saying she'd like to have up to 100.
Hey, can we get a wellness check on Christina? Like, does she have friends?
This is like environmental terrorism. Like,
I don't know where it becomes an ethical issue. Like, I don't think that governments should enforce how many kids people have. But this feels wrong. I mean, they're having like what they're paying surrogates to have IVF, you know, which is, you know, where an egg and the sperm is like done in a petri dish together. Totally cool. Very, very cool technology. It's awesome. It exists. It's giving people an opportunity to have biological children who maybe couldn't. But what? That doesn't seem cool. That seems like an issue if you're just like having 20 women do IVF for you in 1 year. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not having children for many reasons, but one of them is the fact that I'm not vegan, but I'm not having children. So my impact on the earth, I feel like it cancels out a little bit.
That's fair.
But this to me is wild. She said she's dreamed about this since childhood and wants a big, happy family.
I mean, I can barely upkeep having more than like 10 friends.
Oh my God. Yeah. I'm on like 2 group texts and it's hard.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to mute them.
Yes.
You can't mute children.
No. How do you spend one-on-one time with each child in a day?
Well, I mean, I think The Bachelor shows that is possible. You know, the way that the one person spends one-on-one time, it's like they get like 5 minutes and you have to develop love. Maybe she needs a reality show. Never mind. No, the fuck she doesn't, because it's going to inspire more people to do this.
Yeah, she said later in the article that her favorite child is her husband, which I don't like that.
So she was already a mom to Victoria, now 6, and they welcomed their first baby via surrogate, a little boy called Mustafa, in March of last year. Our romantic relationship has changed, but then our whole lives have changed. It's not just the romantic part. Yeah, doy. You're like, how many millions of dollars does this guy have? I have questions.
I have so many questions. And she's 21. Like,
She's
he's
23.
57. She's 23. Oh,
Yeah.
it's hard. She's 23. She has 21 children. I mean, that's so much money on they're only paying their nannies $500 a month.
Well, I don't know what
I don't know what the conversion rate looks like there. Yeah. But that doesn't feel like enough.
The nannies are on a rolling schedule with 4 days on and 2 days off, and they all live there. So,
Jesus.
I mean, like, that's like, you have to live out of a fucking hotel.
Yeah, that's like bunk beds stacked up.
This sucks.
Sorry. Yeah, I mean, this is trashy.
The babies are Mustafa, 14 months, Miriam, 13 months, Irin, 13 months, Elisa, 13 months, Hassan, 1, Judy, 1. What happens when you got 11 months, 1, Judy's 1, Harper, Teresa are both 11 months, Hussein is Anna, Isabella, Ismail, Mehmet, Ahmet, Ali, Christina, Sarah, Luckman, Gallup, because you're running out of names, you got to look around you and just take the dad's name finally. Olivia. I mean, they're all between 4 months and 14 months.
The family lives in a 3-story mansion with each of the child sharing a 2 or 3 person to a room bedroom.
You think the 6-year-old is like, the fuck is this?
Yeah, I didn't care for having one sister when I was 6. I was quite upset that there would be something to share attention with, much less 20 other little children.
The babies are in bed between 8 p.m. and 6 a.m., while Victoria sleeps until 7 a.m. On the topic of how much sleep she gets, Christina says, not as much as I want, but that's the choice to be a mom for my sweeties. I will sleep a lot in another life. Only don't have 20 kids.
Don't do it. It makes me hurt. It makes me physically in pain.
Look, I want to have babies so bad. I got this the biological clock inside me is just tick, 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 tick. Like, I know you're a better person than me for sure for the environment, because I am not vegan and I do plan on having children, but I don't want 20. I don't even want more than 2.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Let's get into our next story from my favorite website, consequence.net.
Grimes says, AI is the fastest path to communism. Is that I'm working on my Grimes, but she doesn't. Sorry. I'm embarrassed about my impression.
Don't be. I understood the path you were taking.
AI is the fastest path to communism, but she doesn't seem to know what communism is.
Grimes has a proposition for communists in her latest TikTok post. With all the confidence of someone who read most of a Wikipedia page, she then lays out how artificial intelligence could solve what seems to be the biggest problem in communism structures, which is, quote, enforced farming.
To be fair, the idea of communism can get a bit wibbly wobbly, with vastly different philosophical movements all claiming the same term. But as far as deep dives into economic structures go, 50-second TikTok videos may not be an ideal medium. But if you're going to say something like, typically, most of the communists I know are not big fans of AI. But if you think about it, AI... I don't know why I'm gassing myself up so hard on this impression.
I love it. Hit the gas harder.
I'm sorry, I'm trash. AI is the fastest path to communism. It would be helpful for you to know what the fuck you're talking about.
AI is like a supercomputer with advanced machine learning, with a Skynet-esque network that makes decisions for us. AI as a job app on your phone that automatically deselects the enforced farming option.
She's basically saying, well, I mean, I'm going to do the impression one more time.
Mhm.
If implemented correctly, AI could actually theoretically solve for abundance. So I think she's thinking that if she'll just get AI to do all the jobs for us,
Mhm.
and then everyone can just like live comfortably, like, because that's the thing, is that there's going to be nobody's going to have to work, and then the government can just pay money to people to be there, and then that's her definition of communism.
Right. Somebody on Twitter said that she said this with all the confidence of somebody waking up with at a 7 a.m. Coke binge. And I was like, uh-huh, because this is what that nonsense sounds like.
Like, we could totally get to a situation where nobody has to work. Everybody's provided for with a comfortable state of being, comfortable living. AI could automate all the farming and weed out all the corruption, thereby bringing us to as close as possible to genuine equality. So basically, everything that everyone loves about communism without the collective farm. Because let's be real, enforced farming is really not a vibe. I think it's getting good. I think it's really good.
I think you're doing great. I'm
Thank
proud
you.
of you.
Thank you. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
It's time for the dumpster fire of the week. Spicy.
According to NBCNews.com, Flamin' Hot Cheetos screenwriter defends Cheeto movie. Enough of the story is true.
The heart and soul and spirit of the story is true. He is a guy who should remain the face of Flamin' Hot Cheetos. Screenwriter Louis Kolick said about Richard Montanez.
Montanez has been claiming credit for Flaming Hot Cheetos for years in books, interviews, and motivational speeches. Director Eva Longoria is set to begin production this summer on Flaming Hot, based on his life story.
Why on earth does this movie exist? I don't know. I guess we've covered it before, but like, this is silly.
I mean, it's inspirational. Somebody that, like, quote, starts like as a janitor and then works their way up to executive in a company. Like, that's the old American dream. And that's what we were sold on.
I get, yeah. Okay, fine. The LA Times reported on Sunday they challenged key elements of his story and concluded that he didn't actually invent the product. The story indicated that he worked on the marketing of other Frito-Lay products, but the story attributed Flamin' Hot Cheetos to an entirely separate group of Frito-Lay employees in the upper Midwest.
Devon Franklin, a producer of faith-based dramas like Miracles from Heaven and Breakthrough, has been developing the project at Searchlight for several years. Screenwriter Louis Kolick has penned inspirational stories such as Charlie St. Cloud and Ladder 49 and has been involved from the initial pitch stage.
Reached on Tuesday, Kolick called the Times story a hit job on a really fine, upstanding individual whose inspiration to the Latino community for justifiable reasons. Did Richard embellish a little bit? Was his memory faulty here and there? Who knows? The truth is the product.
Montanez defended his version of the events in an interview with Variety on Sunday. All I can tell you is what I did, he said. All I have is my story and what I did in my kitchen.
I mean, look, these faith-based movies, I mean, those are the kinds of movies where you're seeing like that one woman who was the original founder of Planned Parenthood, but then decided to go like crazy anti-abortion because she claims that while performing an abortion, the baby inside grabbed the stick and, like stop itself from being killed. That's not a real story, but there are movies about it and people think it's real because of that. And it's kind of like, I don't know. I love a fake story, but don't say it's real.
Well, I think he goes on to defend and he says, we're not in the documentary business. I've written a lot of true stories like October Sky, and every single thing in the story is exactly true. I always stand behind the essence of the story.
Not every single thing is exactly
not
true.
Every single thing in the story is exactly true.
Tell you what, though, October Sky is a damn good movie. I mean, I haven't seen it since, middle school when I had to watch it in class, but Jake Gyllenhaal.
Baby Jake Gyllenhaal.
inventing the rocket.
Oh, my heart, be still. When you talk to Richard, Kolick says, you realize that this is an extraordinary guy who went through a lot. He's not just a janitor who had a brainstorm.
So, well, I mean, now that you've explained it, if it's a janitor who worked his way up to become a big executive, but the story isn't interesting unless it involves Flamin' Hot Cheetos, is basically what they're saying without saying.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. This is one of the key scenes in Montanez's story is a pitch meeting in which he proposed Flamin' Hot Cheetos to a room full of more than 100 people, including the CEO. The Times quoted former employees who said that meeting never happened. Kolick says, who was at the meeting? I don't know. I don't care. Were there 50 people there, 100 people? I don't care. Did he do a presentation? I'm sure he did. It's just a great story. And for it to be silly this way is just a shame.
Yeah, I mean, I want the essence of the story. I want a janitor who worked his way up. Like, that's a cool story to me. I hope it's true.
So are you on team just let them write the movie?
Yeah, just let them write the movie. They're not in the documentary business. I'll watch a documentary about Flaming Hot Cheetos.
That's actually true.
That's actually true. But this movie, and he's done a lot for the community, I say let it happen.
I just imagine like some people like who work in like the upper Midwest, like Michigan, Frito-Lay, like, hey guys, that was our idea.
Yeah.
We were the ones who came up with that. Oh well. Get better publicists, Michigan.
Yeah. Sorry about it.
I mean, whatever. It's fine. Fine.
You're fine with
it's Hollywood, baby.
That's Hollywood, baby. I mean, the Titanic, did it even sink? I don't know. That wasn't a documentary.
All right, Erica. The movie Titanic, Kathy Bates plays a character named Molly Brown, and Molly Brown in real life has a house in Denver, and this is a hot place to go. If you're in elementary school, this is a good field trip because Molly Brown spoke a lot of languages and she survived the Titanic. This is the Molly Brown house, and which I think that they like hold events there now. I'm not really sure the status of the Molly Brown house now, but I felt like a personal connection to the movie Titanic because I was like, I've been in her house. Mm-hmm. This is a legit movie.
I felt a connection to Titanic because my sexual awakening happening to a young Leonardo DiCaprio. So I understand.
Very fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think my mom wanted to see that movie and we saw it in the theaters, but it was like, it was like the biggest movie ever. And so I hope this is it has to be the right number. I feel like it is. This movie came out in 1994, I want to say. 1997, excuse me. 1997. Yeah, because 4, I would be way too young. But, I mean, I was too young to go anyways. But I don't know if my mom knew that. But we had to sit in the front row because it was so packed. And when the ship's going down, it was so loud. I think I started crying. I can't remember if I had to be escorted out by my mother or like if I just like cried the whole time. But I feel like that memory is correct, that I was front row while Titanic was in theaters.
Oh. I saw it twice in the theater. And the first time I saw it, I didn't cry. And the second time I saw it, I bawled my eyes out to the point where I thought I was having a mini panic attack.
Oh, no.
And my parent was like, what's happening to you? Why are you so upset?
I mean, that's what happened to me when I watched Avengers of Infinity War. And that was, less than a month ago. That shit had me fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah. What are you...
Oh, we were going to ask each other the same question.
What are you hoarding this week?
Okay. If you have someone in your life who can operate a sewing machine and you got big old milkies like me and Erica, ask them nicely to sew up all of the shirts that you have with buttons.
Oh, yes.
My mom was in town, and my mom is a seamstress extraordinaire. She makes quilts and stuff. She actually made me a jacket that is out of an old quilt. This jacket looks fucking sick. I think she might start selling them because they're very cool. And they're like, whatever. Anyways, I just like sent her home with like a bunch of my shirts that have buttons, and they've been recently returned to me. And I feel like I bought new clothes because all these shirts that like, I could only really wear if I was having like either an event where I wouldn't be sitting or like, or if I was like going through kind of more of like a skinnier day, or maybe they just fit in the fitting room or online, and then I got them home and they didn't fit. And I was like, well, I guess I've never worn this. Like there's some stuff I've never worn. And now everything, I just pull it over my fucking head and it's great and it works. And when you got tiggle bitties, the button right around your boobs, there's an opening. So, yeah, I'm hoarding having someone or yourself sew up the buttons.
So smart. So smart.
What are you hoarding?
I'm hoarding the show on Netflix. It just came out with season 5, just dropped. But Kim's Convenience.
Okay.
It is so fucking funny. It's so heartwarming. It is a goddamn delight. It's a Canadian show. So they say sorry. It is so wonderful. I love Kim's Convenience.
Okay. Cute.
Yeah.
They always make fun of that show on my other podcast, but I don't know why.
Well, tell them that they're fucking wrong.
I will, and they'll listen to you. They love you.
What are you throwing away?
Well, I mean, I didn't want to spoil it when we were talking about like our environmental impact, especially since I plan on, breeding. But for this month, I'm not going to be eating, I'm going to be pescatarian.
Oh, okay. Good for you.
Yeah. Because like we were talking about our doctor's appointments and stuff, and I almost said my vet. My my doctor kept trying to push plant-based diet on me, which I think Kaiser in general is trying to like push people towards plant-based. Fine, I don't want to do that. I like I don't mind eating like that often. It's good, and I like forcing myself to do it, but that's not how I want to live the rest of my life because like I don't know, I like to eat meat. But I am, just for this month, maybe longer. I don't know. I'm going to see how I feel after the end of June. But I'm eating pescatarian, but I'm also trying to limit even like fish. So like I think most of this last week I ate completely plant-based, and I'm like sleeping better.
Good.
I don't know if it's like necessarily like that I should be blaming like chicken for how I was sleeping. But I do think that when you remove like such a staple to your meals, whether it's chicken or pork or beef, you're forced to find something else. And when you're trying to do it with the intention to like maybe drop some quarantine weight, like your first choice isn't going to be pasta. So like,
right.
I don't know, I've just been eating very veggie heavy meals. I've taught myself how to like, grilled tofu and stuff, which I never really spent the time to figure out. And yeah, I'm having a good time so far.
Good for you.
Thank you. So throwing out meat. Bye-bye, meat. Get out of here. Just for the month of June. We'll talk again in July. But I don't know. You're not off my shit list yet. What are you throwing out?
I'm throwing out, if you have a goddamn appointment, that means I want to be served at that time or within 5 minutes, not 15 to 20 minutes later.
Whoa. I mean, I like your style. What happened to you?
I had 2 appointments yesterday. And both made me wait almost 20 minutes. And I show up 5 minutes early, always.
Got to.
It's just part of my DNA. I'm early. And both times they made me wait, and it upset me a little bit. And I was like, I understand that things like run behind, but like I called for a very specific time. Like I was on a strict schedule yesterday, and 5 minutes adds up, 10 minutes adds up, 20 minutes makes me late to the next appointment. Like that shit adds up.
Absolutely.
So if I have an appointment, I want to be served at my appointment time.
I agree. I agree. I like it. Yeah, because otherwise, what's the point of making the appointment in the first place if you're going to have to wait?
What's the fucking point?
Yeah.
Where can
Good.
the people find you?
You can find me at Cass Cardenas on Instagram and Twitter. I also am on another podcast on the Smodcast Network called Nooner. And you can find me on the streets of Los Angeles screaming about how much I love Erica Curry. Where do they find you?
Aw. They can find me at Iconic Erica Curry on Instagram or at GillyGal on Twitter. And you can find this podcast at Trashy Trashy Pod on Instagram and Twitter, or at www.trashytrashypodcast.com, and let us know why you're trash.
Please do. We love your, and thank you for sending us stories if you ever do that. We're still collecting Vegas stories. So much fun. We want to do something special with those. So, please send those in. And yeah.
Hey, Cass.
What's going on, girl?
Stay garbage.
You stay garbage.
I will. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.